Jon Summers is the motoring historian. He was a company car thrashing technology sales rep that turned into a fairly inept sports bike rider. Hailing from California, he collects cars and bikes built with plenty of cheap and fast, and not much reliable. On his show, he gets together with various co hosts to talk about new and old cars, driving, motorbikes, motor racing, and motoring travel.
Good day, good morning, good afternoon. It is Jon Summers, the history vendor. Sounds a bit silly, that, doesn't it? But anyway, look, I have split. I did one long recording, didn't I? And episode 11 was the first half of it, and now this one, episode 12, is the second half of this one long recording. Yeah, so that's the backstory, and I'm just going to drop you straight in. The next item on my agenda, the Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. We got a bit lucky with the weather, given Saturday was cancelled.
Why?
We went on
the high winds.
Wind and rain, yeah. Friday was a bit of a washout. It was bucketing it down quite heavily, and I think with the wind getting up for the Saturday, they were like, look, it's going to be easier to just scratch it and then have the Sunday. So yeah, I mean, look, the Thursday's always a little bit quieter. I mean, you wouldn't know it from the crowds now. I mean, I've only been going for like the last 3 years running, and each year is noticeably busier. But it was lovely. I mean, it's some quality stuff. I mean, again, you can technically see everything in a day, but I mean, I can't be bothered to charge around and be quite that diligent with checking in on everything. So, yeah, I went with my brother and like a friend from work. Well, a friend, a Jabra that I we sold to, and he's subsequently now a mate. And he took his lad. It was his son's 16th birthday the day before, so he still counted as a junior in Goodwood's eyes. And it was quite entertaining. They both said to me in the drive. He came to my place, and we drove down in one car. And they both said to me that the car that they're most passionate about is the Metro 6R4. They only wanted to see a 6R4. Could I guarantee there was going to be a 6R4? And I was like, well, no. I mean, if you ask me to guess, will there be one? I would say, yeah, there probably will be. There was last year, if I recollect. Certainly in the paddock, there was one kicking around. I think it was the computer vision blue one, if I recollect.
That is the Ioniq livery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, long story short, we got there for about 9:30, and in the second bunch of cars that went up, there were 2 Metro 6R4s. So they including the computer vision one and a red one, I think a red and white one. But yeah, so they thoroughly enjoyed that. And then they went off and did their thing. They went up to the rally stage. I hung around with my brother for the day, which was great. It's I mean, slightly. You're slightly coddled as a member on the basis that when everyone looking at you, get into lunchtime, you think, oh, a bit peckish. And you look around at the food stalls and there's queues sort of 30 or 40 length. And you think, oh. And then I'm a bit on, so I'm a member here. So we wandered down to and as it happened, I looked around to say, where's the members bit? And it was about 50 yards away. So Jamie, I can sign one person in. So Jamie and I went and ate there where the queue was 2 deep.
Mm-hmm.
And we had... So we're able to sit at a nice table, and it was much more relaxed. As we wandered in, my brother said to me, "Now this is more what I'm talking about." So we had a thoroughly nice afternoon. I mean, look, my highlights in terms of cars, getting back on track, the McLaren livery on that P1.
Don't you have to.
Well, no, but the McLaren, the Marlboro aping livery on that McLaren P1 was fabulous. Looked amazing. I like the RS that Targa Turbo 911 as well. The car that I was most excited to see, I don't think I actually saw the Ioniq N, which for anyone who hasn't, I mean, I'm not that bothered about electric cars, but I like electric cars when they do electric, if you know what I mean, when they do their own thing and don't try and be so what I like about what Hyundai have done is they've aped gears, so they've set the torque up in order to give you a gearing feel, so that you can, rattle through the gears and have fun with it. And because it's an electric car and it's a prototype, and because they have a sense of humor, evidently, you can change the sound that you have in the car. So you can have a V8 roar if you want, but also you can have a jet engine sound from an F-18, like from Maverick's movie, and then when you shift gear, you get a sonic boom effect through the. I mean, cool. If you're gonna be electric, do your own thing, like the GTR. Do something different and do it your way. So, they tried to make it light, and
I do think the ability to be an all rounder and this like some kind of humor and it's not my thing, but it is seemingly going to form part of the culture of performance EVs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not sort of from what I saw from the spec sheet, and I read the article and I've looked at the car and stuff. It's like 300 and something horsepower, so not the usual electric. Oh, we've given it 4 gazillion horsepower. It's 300 and something, so plenty, but sort of reflective of where current hot hatchbacks are. The current Golf R's 330, 340, something like that, I think. So in that sort of bracket, So yeah, I mean, it looked quite fun. I was interested to see it properly. I didn't really get a proper chance to have a look at it, but no, it was cool. And it's Goodwood. So the fact that you can go and look at the sort of the Elf Renault Formula One cars, and there isn't just one. There's like 3 parked next to each other, and you can go and stand and take photos inside and look at the gear shift and look at, there's a little tag on the steering wheel that says "good battery" in this one. Okay, so these are being coddled in a way that you would hope they would be. Yeah, it's a cracking day out. I recommend it to everyone. It's different from the members' meeting. I still prefer the members' meeting because I like to see them out there racing. But, anyone who watched Jenson Button's 4 billion, he had the NASCAR that he took to Le Mans. And, I mean, if you haven't seen his rolling burnout that takes about 10 minutes for him to get up level with the house, it's virtually a burnout all the way from the start finish. He's just rolling and there's just clouds and clouds of smoke. There's fun had. Hyundai notably smashed one of their concept cars into the hay bales, wrecking it. Someone smashed, I think, the wing off the CLK GTR 1 that got dinked into the hay bales. Someone lost the arse of it in the wet and smacked that. There was a couple of other significant casualties in terms of body damage as well. Yeah.
It did, because I don't have much of a presence on Twitter, but I did see a clip of film of somebody binning the Leighton House. Remember the early Adrian Newey design marches that were March and then Leighton House? And I guess at the time I didn't know who Leighton House were, but it was basically some kind of House of Cards Japanese property company. So they were super like, they were almost like Rich Energy, that kind of utter, House of Cards. Now, I probably slandered Leighton House there, but I drill into it. The Leighton House are worth it. Anyway, this was the car. And on the approach to the little like left-righty bit, he lost the back and binned it into the scenery.
I am Matthew Hopkins, Witchfinder.
So I spent some time in Connecticut and New York recently. I was there because there's a chance that we might move there. I had this Nissan Altima. In the past they've had a CVT. I don't know if it had a CVT, but it was a lot better than other ones I've driven. For what it's worth, it was really quite a inoffensive, nice, incredibly forgettable, but quite a nice piece of of kit to use. The most memorable thing is that big grill with the slitty eyes that everyone seems to be doing now, that implies that everybody's driving a Camaro or a hot rod Audi, but actually you've just got like, you know, Altima. But, you know, I got on all right with it. But yeah, there's something about that part of New England that brings out the rebel in me. I just want to fight the system. It's it's summed up by a conversation that I had with Ollie, which is that there's all these houses that are set in all this grassland, you know, and then there's another one and another one. But they're all like enormous houses, you know, 6-bedroom, 5-bathroom, nice design, you know, like, but that's that, and they're all like a long way apart with these rolling. So Ollie's like, well, look at all this grass. Could I ride my dirt bike there? And I'm like, maybe if it was ours. And my wife's like, no, you're not allowed. So that's what it's summed up by, right? It's summed up by the fact that there's all this.
You're not allowed.
There's all this grass, but it's not for riding on. It's for looking at. So
I mean,
I said to Dana, it would be all right. I'd be all right for like a month or so, and then one day you would get a phone call, and it would be the police, and they would say that there's been an accident, and that one of these houses that's 300 yards from the road has my Mustang embedded in it, and that turn that isn't really a turn at 90 miles an hour, but 120 is a turn. You know, that's how it would go. I would like, it would come out like that. I would like, I'm like, I feel like it's like, I don't know what to say. You can see I can't even find the words now to describe how, it's, I love the fact that here in California, you can wear flip-flops and a t-shirt. I don't like the fact that you can't do that in other places. It almost begins and ends there. But this stupid class prattling wasn't really what I was getting at with this. I was thinking pulled over at the side of the road in a particularly picturesque spot, thinking it's so beautiful. And, you know, I know like the weather in the winter's terrible, but, you know, like, you know, I just can't do this like sheer, like what Dana calls stick up the assness of the whole of New England. And then I'm looking in the rear view, and there's an Aston Martin V8 Vantage coming on this country road. No other cars have passed me. It's a 25-mile-an-hour limit. And damn me if it's not an E plate. Here we are in New England, but this car is just wearing an English number plate. And he comes on by, and it is a proper, like, last of the line V8 Vantage on a E registration British plate. Didn't catch the glimpse of the driver, so when he goes on by, I just follow him, and over the E plate at the back, it's got a Connecticut number plate. And I wouldn't say that he was, you know, driving the car like it was on a racetrack, but I had to work the Altima fairly hard to keep up. This in a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And then he just pulled off out of the little like estate part onto like a main parkway and went off and did his business. And I was like, you know what? Maybe there is some room for it, but that was a super cool car in a kind of cool context, and it's Did you look at the link to that cheap MG EV?
No.
It's a cheap MG EV that's like a normal sized car. As part of our like milestones in the evolution of the EV, this seemed like a significant development. This feels like this is like something which is not a million miles away from the AMI in price, but as functional as... Now, I do want to say, with all of these cheap EVs and with old EVs, the residuals on them are terrible because the batteries lose performance so much and so quickly. So I do feel like in 6 or 7 years, there's going to be a ton of electric cars which look fine, but are worthless and need to be broken up because of the batteries. And that feels so grotesquely wasteful. But it's just our consumer society, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I can't pretend it looks good. Actually, now that I'm looking at the picture of it, I have seen one on the road, I think. I mean, yeah, I don't particularly like it, but yeah, I mean, whatever.
But that's not the point. I just think that this, I mean, I'm not saying I don't care what you think. I'm saying that I do. But I'm just making the point that I feel like this is an important milestone that towards cheap, affordable electric cars. So both of us watched Le Mans this year. I know it was ages ago, but it takes me ages to percolate these topics through. I won't be judged for being slow and disorganized. Is who I am. Le Mans, the TV experience, your thoughts. I'll throw a few out there. I feel like it's pretty enjoyable. I feel like you can access the race in a really interesting way that you couldn't do. When I was going to Le Mans 20 years ago, you had to go there and deal with that intense carnival, gearhead, Mad Max kind of atmosphere. You don't have to deal with that.
No, I just subscribe to Eurosport for the month, and then there you go. It's all there, and I like the fact that I listened to a bit of F1 the other day, and I don't want to ever go at anyone, especially somebody who necessarily can't catch up. But Martin Brundle is Martin Brundle. I've got no problem with Martin Brundle. David Croft just winds me the fuck up. He won't shut up. Now I know, to be fair to him and to defend him because he can't defend himself, he is paid to talk about the race, but. And even though the cars don't sound that great,
Murray was the same. Surely this new bloke is trying to be what Murray was.
Yeah, but I think they could all take a lesson from James Hunt, who didn't say all that much, but was more interesting when he did have something to say. And shut up and especially when it's on board. Let me hear the car. Let me hear the car and let me pay attention to that. There's a quote. There's a clip I was watching a while back of. One of them, I think it's Anthony Davidson, when they're chatting in the group stuff in a qualifying session or a Friday session kind of thing at Spa, and he was, well, let's listen to them go through Eau Rouge. He gets about half a second into it, and Crofty just talks over the whole thing. I don't know. It's not even as if he was saying anything particularly valid, but then again, I'm sort of maligning a guy for something I don't watch very religiously, so it's probably not fair.
I've got to say, I must have watched about 5 minutes of Formula One in the last 5 years, and I watched the beginning of the British Grand Prix, and I watched Verstappen turn in on Hamilton at 160 miles an hour, and watched him bin off into the scenery, and then listened to them talk about whether or not that was Hamilton's fault.
The level of what the biggest thing that turns me off about the sport is the level of
I just can't get past that. So that means that, and I know that sort of Verstappen is what Senna was for my generation, but I'm the old guard now, and I can't respect the guy. I won't watch the sport because of him. There we go.
I have less of an issue with him. I find him grumpy and a bit brusque, but then that's his right. What I find irritating is the whole butthurt, thou shalt not criticize us of Red Bull. That can just profoundly fuck off. Their whole attitude was encapsulated for me by Ted Kravitz saying in one of his sort of post wrap up sort of, when he wanders around. I think it was this. I might be misquoting the guy, but it was something along the lines of, he was wandering around. He said, he referred to the incident at the end of the previous season, or the season before last, whatever it was, and when and he said rather blithely, when Lewis was robbed, which difficult to argue if you sit down and dispassionate about the facts. The guy got fired for making the decision he made. altered the rules of the race in order to make it more exciting for the fans. Okay, I can see why you want to do that. It's a commercial sport, but that's not what the rules said. And therefore, it enabled Max Verstappen to win the race when perhaps he wouldn't have, almost certainly he wouldn't have done otherwise. And Red Bull then refused to speak to Ted Kravitz, wouldn't give interviews to Sky for the following week or so, and were like, "It's we won't have that, no criticism." And it's like we have to live in this mystical world where that didn't happen, and there's no, you can't malign that. And they were the same, if I recollect, when I was watching it more, when Vettel was their man, and there was no criticizing Vettel. There was no favoritism in the team. That you weren't allowed to call Webber this number 2 driver. It was like, well, look, you're the one that behaves like he's a number 2 driver and gives him second shrift. And when there's an incident between the two of them and it's clearly Vettel's fault, you don't defend Webber, you defend Vettel. It's like, it's the German guy in that team. Okay, I understand why it's that way, but I refuse to play in this charade around that we're not allowed to call that out. So, I mean, and look, Mike, I was perfectly happy when Michael was winning all the time as Ferrari, and now Vettel's winning all the time as Red Bull, and it's boring, and it was boring for Ferrari as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, the sport in recent years has been, it feels like the era, it feels like the domination is more complete and lasts for longer in this century than it did in the last century. In the last century, the last 20 years of the last century, there was, you didn't really know what was going to happen at the beginning of every season. Whereas now, we're in like the Verstappen era, and he will set all these records. And then when his motivation or Horner's motivation falters, then somebody else will get a look in, kind of thing.
I think at some point Radwin knew he retires, and that will balance things up again, probably.
Yeah, I know too little about modern Formula One to.
I mean, it's difficult to argue he's the most successful F1 designer of all time. It's sort of almost impossible to argue anyone else if you look at his sort of career of success.
So, on the subject of things motorsport, these folk getting killed at Spa, young uns, where my understanding is it's you get it wrong at Raidillon. The problem is that you bounce back onto the track and then are hit by oncoming cars. I want to say it's a knotty problem, and I'm glad I'm not a steward of the circuit because, obviously to do anything, to listen to these young pups be like, change the circuit, bro. This seems not remotely a good path of action. We can turn any sport into tiddlywinks if we want to, or are we really going to emasculate one of the only bits of, epic bits of motorsport left, kind of thing? Obviously some people would advocate that we should do that. At the same time, you do feel like, were I the stewards, I would not want people out on track in the wet, because literally you're just waiting for something like that to happen. It's clear that the cars are in a place now where they're going at a speed where, the same accident has happened twice, right? That's, I think, what people are upset about, quite rightly. I don't know if you can do something about the runoff. I mean, that's the obvious thing when you visit Tamburello now. You look and you say, well, you could have done something about the runoff. Could you not have thought about runoff? And it would have been difficult because of the river, but you could have, there was at least a thought in that direction. With Raidillon, you feel like if we purists are so keen on preserving it, can't we do something about runoff that means that you don't bounce back on?
I mean, they have done. It is wider on the outside of Eau Rouge, and on the left-hand side up the hill there's a whole load of tarmac out there that there didn't used to be. So there's more space. But I mean, the speeds there are so high. I mean, that's the issue. And Those little single-seater cars don't have a lot of side protection. You know, if you get T-boned, it's gonna hurt. I mean, that said, I mean, if you look at the 24 Hours of Spa
Now, hang on a
GT,
minute, let me give the boss the car keys here. Oh, they're right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
So no, that's no problem. Oh, where are you going?
Sorry, I have an appointment for my brother.
Oh, all right. Is the boy going with you?
Yeah, and then we're coming back here taking him to the party.
Okay. Bring it on. What time are we going to the party? Or
I
what?
have to double check, but like, I think you have to leave at like 11:15 or 11:30.
All right, 11:15 or 11:30. Great.
Okay.
You had a thought which was completed there. So,
did you? Yeah. Well, the only other thing I was going to say was that if you watch I watched the 24 Hours of GT racing there. You know, the 911s and all that sort of stuff. The stuff that, you know, the GTE stuff from Le Mans series. And there's regularly accidents. You know, it's 24 hours. There's regularly accidents. They'll have yellow flags here and there. You know, full course yellows and stuff. But I don't remember anyone actually getting really hurt. But then they're more substantial cars. And I'm not suggesting that they didn't. I'm just saying I didn't hear anybody. I mean, so, you know, but you know, it's dangerous.
The door hit is always bad. I was thinking about this before we came into the call here, and I realised that. Do you remember that touring car driver Keith Odor was killed in a door hit, and that's with a modern roll cage and a modern car that was in the 90s. If you think of it, even there's a good chance Mike Hawthorne might have survived had the car not hit the tree right behind the front wheel at the bottom of the A pillar, right? You know, so that's two completely different accidents, completely different time periods, but the door hits bad. The door hit.
It always will be. Yeah. There's no. Yeah, they do their best. I mean, I know they do to make these things as safe as they can. But it's you know, I applaud them. You know, do I like the aesthetics of the hoop in Formula One? No. Is it a good idea? Yeah. I mean, the following season after they were introduced, a car went over the top of Alonso's bonnet. And if it had been 6 inches further back, the tyre would have taken his head off. And the barrier thing pushed the car up over the top. Whether or not it saved his life, I've seen other accidents reported where they were like, you know, that driver would be dead if it wasn't for it.
I definitely want one if Grosjean was in the race. If Grosjean was in the race, I would definitely want that thing.
Yeah, that'd probably be wise.
The NASCAR race in Chicago, it rained. Are you aware of what happened?
Yeah, I watched the highlights of it.
Did you know Shane Van Gisbergen before?
I'd heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, because I remembered him from V8 Supercars when I used to watch that years ago, and I've not watched that for a long time. So my first thought when he won was, oh, I bet it was a mixed up race, because my thought about it was that if you're used to racing on ovals where it doesn't rain, racing on a street circuit, you're completely out. So NASCAR guys, both in the pits and out of it, just would not have had the experience to cope with the situation. Whereas your V8 supercar guy who is used to acting, you know, it seemed less as if it seemed like although it was a NASCAR race, it suited the skills of the seasoned V8 supercar guy far more than the skills of a chase.
It was his debut race, though, wasn't it?
I don't know whether it was his debut.
I think it was his first NASCAR race, to be fair to him.
But I mean, absolutely right, and you don't luck into that, do you? I've just the table was tipped in his favour, but he
For sure. Yeah, yeah.
he took that race by the scruff of the neck and won it. And I know that without having watched it. I just know he must have done because
Oh, he did. Yeah, I watched the sort of. I think Mark sent out the thing, and I looked at it because I subscribed to NASCAR. Because like 2 days later, there was the whole thing. You could just watch the whole race on YouTube. So I was like, oh well. Therefore, if I want to watch NASCAR, I'm not bothered about watching it live, and I'm happy to watch it a few days later, then I can watch it on YouTube. So I watched the 15-minute highlights package of it, and there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people locking up the inside, smashing into the tyre barriers. And to be fair to them, quite a lot of people reversing back out of the tyre barriers and carrying on about their day.
Yeah.
So, the tyre barriers did a pretty good job. But
yeah. No, if you can have a mistake and keep going, I think that adds to the drama of the sport. Everyone loves a comeback story, don't they?
Mm. But no, it was good fun, and fair play to him. I mean, they were talking about him as a sort of tarmac specialist or a street circuit specialist and stuff. But run one, won one. I mean, it's pretty good, isn't it? That's as records go. It's tough to touch.
Well, my next little section here is about storytelling. I've called it loosely, and it's 3 or 4 different storytelling organs, if you like. So I'm going to begin with, as you know, I never watch movies, so as ever, we're going to talk about things that we're not experts in, which is what we do all the time. I watched Fast and the Furious #5 on a plane recently. I watched it with the sound down, listening to EDM. It was there were cars. I mean, wow. I mean, jumping Panteras off trains, driving.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of them. I've seen bits of them, if you like, but I've never sat and watched any of them. But there must be something to them, otherwise you don't get to Fast and Furious 10 or whatever it is. So,
the visuals of it is just awesome. It's Paul Walker and driving through the streets of Rio in this Hakoska skyline, and you're like, not real, but somehow, but real in a Dinsmore Greep role play kind of character.
Yeah.
So in a like ridiculous, overstated role play kind of way. The whole here's why I thought it was interesting. It's a combination of like the most beautiful women and the most amazing cars shot in the most awesome way, linked together in this very complicated, utterly implausible comic book kind of storyline. 2 Dodge Chargers dragging a giant safe through the streets of a city.
And now a touch of beauty is added to our program.
Hello, boys.
Is Mission Impossible out where you are?
I've seen it.
Dude, the bike stunt. I liked it because it wasn't complicated. It was just jaw-dropping. Because know he really did it.
About 5 times.
They didn't gussy it up. he just rode the motorcycle off the cliff and did it. Right, that was really a moment in cinema for me.
The only problem I had with it is they overused it, not in the film, but in all of the shit beforehand. So even the bit before the film, after they say the guy comes over the studio mic in the darkness to go, hey guys, like, hey, surprised you, like everyone turn the phones off, you know, like little sort of make it a jokey matey thing so that you might actually fucking turn your phone off and not be a bad end and eat like crisps, like with your mouth open and stuff, all the stuff that people do. It's like, you know, can you keep it quiet? No one wants to hear you talking to your buddy. All of that stuff. After that, there was another bit where they showed Tom Cruise doing that stunt before they started the movie in the final trailer for the movie I'm sitting down to watch. So, I mean, it's difficult for it to lose impact given what an amazing thing it is. And the fact that, as you say, he did do it and he had to do it 4 or 5 or 6 times or something ridiculous. And, you know, I like the way that they did it. And then they just don't bother to show any of the bit where he gets on the train. They just have him swing in through the window at a fortunate time, and then some comedy timing elsewhere afterwards. So, yeah. I mean, it's a stunning piece of work. The movie itself, it was okay. I quite enjoyed it. I thought he had too much paladin in him, if for the role players out there, for a chick he barely met and who continuously tried to fuck him over. Like, I don't understand why he didn't just bond her a bit. If you know what I mean?
I actually liked her as a character. I felt she was actually had more character than anybody else in the movie.
Agreed, yeah.
But I lost patience when, upon leaving the police station, she got in a police car and drove away, stole a police car right from in front of a police station, when she could have just walked into the streets of Rome and disappeared.
She made some dumb decisions, yeah. And I mean, and his patience with her when he had no reason to feel beholden to her at all. It's like, you know, I'm beholden to you because you're hot, was the plot. Yeah. It's like, if she was a minger, no way. No one's buying that. So I'm beholden to you because you're hot and because I need you for the rest of the plot, because another one of my old exes is going to snuff it in a way that is totally, you know, you could see it from the car park, how far away you could tell she was going to die. You know, I mean, it was obvious. I mean, Jesus. So, we need another chick because I'm going to burn the last one, obviously. So, you know, and you know as well as I do, this is a 2-part movie. She's going to be in exactly the same position with exactly the same guy, and this time he's going to save her in the second part of the film. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. I suspect that's how it's going to go down. Now, you know, did I still enjoy it? Was I annoyed that I'd spent my money? No, I had a great time. It was an entertaining evening watching a big budget cheddar fest, and it's an interesting decision to make it a 5.5 hour movie and split across 2 films, rather than, you know, do what Hollywood usually would do, which is edit it down. What I'm interested to see is whether or not I think it was worth it, if you know what I mean, to have that much plot in. So far, I'm not convinced, but we'll see. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the plot of modern movies is just so like pa-chow, pa-chow, pa-chow. I just, you know, it's I just try and grasp on to the fundamentals.
Dude, you want to watch John Wick 4, yeah? And if you haven't seen John Wick 1, 2, or 3, like, don't worry about it. But if you've seen one of them, it would help. Yeah, the first one or the second one. I thought 3 was a bit shit, to be honest. I thought they overdid it. But what they've really done with 4 is just ignore all of that and recognize that what they're doing is live actioning a comic. That's what they're doing. So therefore, every shot is like a graphic novel. Every shot could be, if you think about it, every shot could be the album cover or could be the shot on the front of the graphic novel. Though you're like, oh, doesn't that look amazing? You know, there's a dawn scene on Sacré-Cœur where there's no one else in sight. You know, they're standing there at dawn and they have like a duel on. I mean, it's like what? So he gets thrown down the steps and he's climbing up the steps. It's like a Tom and Jerry cartoon almost. He gets thrown down these steps so many times and fights his way back up the steps. But like, goddamn, some of the set pieces are fabulous and it's beautifully lit and beautifully shot. And when you remember it's not a film, it's a graphic novel, essentially, it's awesome. But again, 3 hours 15, like,
Yeah.
you know.
I actually didn't feel like Mission Impossible dragged too much. Usually with 3 hour films, I feel like they drag.
No,
I didn't feel like Mission. Maybe that's because I just went and took a leak rather than waiting for the movie to end. I was like, I think I'll be able to pick up what's happening here, so I went and took a leak. Moving to another kind of storytelling. Have you been watching the new 3D bot maker with the new...
I've seen the King of the Mountain one.
Yeah, what do you make of the new track?
It's all right. It's growing on me. I mean,
Ollie
the number of fatalities seems to have gone up.
Ollie thinks it should be longer.
But they're all that. The last one wasn't that long either. They're all about that sort of 13 to 17 seconds kind of. I suspect it's more difficult to set up camera, and you would have thought they could maybe do it. Maybe they've only got a big enough space to set up a certain amount of track, and you've got to set up a lot of GoPros and all that sort of stuff, haven't you? So, and I mean, clearly they run the races and then plan their commentary and do their commentary after the races and stuff, as you would, and that makes it pretty good, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the track's the greatest thing, but it is still interesting to see, you know, which cars random their way in from the back and are able to sort of make points on the rounds where they're on the second row.
That is what you're looking for. Is if they can make points on the other thing. The thing that I find quite frustrating is if there's a car that's noticeably faster than the others, and that car can't exert his advantage. I always feel frustrated by that. I was going to say, I also feel on this particular course, you talk about the number of fatalities being high. I'd agree with you. It's not least because the crowd are allowed to stand too close at the finish line, which may have been a deliberate design feature. But the other thing that I think is interesting is the bridge and the way that a number of cars coming out of that bridge do what I call like the A-team roll. Do you remember in the A-team, cars would always crash the same way, in that one side of the car would drive up like a parked car or a ramp or a bush that concealed a ramp, and then so rather than and that would induce, because one side of the car went up and the other side didn't, and the front lifted up, that would be enough to heave it up to fall spectacularly onto its roof. Yeah.
No, it's the one that went into the drink in the semi-finals that just disappeared off the edge into the water. That was quite an impressive crash. There seems to be quite a lot of people doing the crazy Jimmy finish the race in reverse as well. There seems to be a number of people managing that particular maneuver. But yeah, again, the fastest bloke, I think it was a chap, nominally a chap in the car, made it through. Is going to feature in the end of season, whatever the best of the best champions thing is, based upon his time alone. So they have kept whoever it was, Scotty or whoever it was that had the fastest track time so far.
DeLorean. It's that gold DeLorean. That DeLorean.
Oh yeah.
That DeLorean casting seems extremely fast. A lot of people have been using the Sierra Cosworth casting, which obviously I absolutely love. It's like watching 80s motorsport with the number of Sierra Cosworths there in it.
Not a big fan of the Nissan Maxima wagon. There were 3 in the final, so it was a bit...
Yeah, well, I think they're good because they're low and you can put a lot of weight in them.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't know why the Sierra's good. So I was taking this magazine, Practical Sports Bikes. Basically, it was for the kind of 90s cheapy kind of bikes that I love and ride, and it was right up my alley. Like every time they did like a comparison feature, I'd have one of the bikes that they were like doing the comparison between. It really was... they're defunct. Is the end of Practical Sports Bikes was performance bikes back in the day. There was like a gap, but it was the same contributors, but just like years later, so talking about the same bikes but years later. But that magazine is now defunct, and that's sad. And it brings me on to the demise of print media in the automotive space, and how I think we're sort of losing something, because I consume print media in a different way from the way that I consume, when I'm reading a magazine, I'm not looking at my phone. When I'm looking at my phone, I tend not to read automotive content. They're like big articles. When I open a magazine, I'm ready to read a long article. So I'm saying that I'm missing the magazine because of the form that it takes. I'm not saying I'm going to struggle for content or need to subscribe to another magazine or anything. I'm surrounded by reading material, and I'm still looking at my phone and screens all the time anyway. So I'm fine with the narrowing almost, but I'm sad that this particular medium is not able to be sustainable.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. But I think it's a way. The other thing that you can do to sort of ape it a little bit is get yourself a tablet, because it does feel a little bit more like you've got a sort of larger page, more sort of format, if you know what I mean, and you can hold it in the same way. And although it's not page turning, it does feel a little bit more. Phones are long articles on the phone. You're constantly scrolling, even if you have the font pretty small. You're constantly scrolling. Whereas on a tablet, it does feel more like yeah. We bought a Samsung tablet years ago, and one of the things I would say about the Samsung tablets is don't be cheap. Buy the expensive one, because the screens are like, wow, cool. And then you're like, it never sort of feels crap. It always feels like, oh, it's premium every time you're on it. It feels slick. And that it has a sort of pass aroundness that a magazine also has, in the same way, in a way that your phone quite doesn't, because it's your phone, you can pass it to. Whereas you can pass that around, this sort of shared way of, oh, quick, have a look at this kind of thing. So it does have a sort of value add. But no, I agree with you. I've got, apart from like about 7 or 8, I think I've got a complete run of Evos in the other room, gathering dust mainly. But I like the fact that I've got them. And at some point, I would be very surprised if they don't go digital only in the same way. So,
quickfire. US road trip. Money, no object. What do you drive?
Well, I would probably end up on that road in Idaho that I love, that goes out up towards, is it Idaho City, up into the mountains? Like, goddamn, what a road. It's about 40 miles of like beautiful left, right, sort of up and down, wrapped round mountains through the trees.
I meant
Huh?
I meant what car?
Yeah, no, I know. I was just thinking, what would I drive on that road? Well, given it's super smooth, I don't know. I was watching a guy in a Lola T70 go around Spa on board today, and you can buy that Broadly T70. It's like road legal. I quite like one of those at the moment. Not much fun as a long road trip vehicle, I suspect, but fun. I mean, in other ways.
This F-250 I had for the road trip, I can't believe I've not talked about it before. It was awesome. Strong up to more than freeway speeds if you stomp the gas enough. It was a V8 petrol, not a diesel. There's some roads in Nevada that they're gravel. They're marked roads, but they're gravel. They're not paved. So on those roads, you could have it in high 4 at like 70 miles an hour across this gravel, which I've got to say, I'm not a 4-wheel drive person, but high 4 is one of the most awesome things in motoring. I love high 4. So Ollie was like, what's the difference between your high 4? Like, do it in 2-wheel drive. So I'm at the side of the road, and I've had it in high 4, like off the side of the road on the gravel bit at the side of the road. This is like middle of nowhere, Nevada. And then I put it in 2-wheel drive, put it in 2-wheel drive. I wasn't messing around trying to change it when I was driving along. Not sure if I could, but I wasn't doing that. Now I stopped, put it back in two-wheel drive, turned the traction control off, and launched it, right? And I kid you not, it pushed the tail out and the nose up onto the road. And then there was probably a 20-second period where I had the nose of the pickup truck on the road and the back of it on this gravel slope off the side of the road. And we were looking out of the side window, and it was sliding in this. It was without question one of the most beautiful slides I've ever done, and I will forever love that F-250 pickup. And I now feel like I might need a four-wheel drive pickup truck, not a two-wheel drive one, just because I love the high four, like, rah!
I think if you're going to have a pickup, it makes sense to have a four-wheel drive one because it gives you the off-roadness that image promises you.
What's the best music to drive to?
I mean, it depends. What sort of driving are you trying to accomplish? If you're going through the night on caffeine and holy gasoline, then Boston trance music. But you will inevitably end up speeding. If you want to just chill through Western America, like whatever the country music station is playing. If you're rolling through Europe, I don't mind doing Europop, or otherwise I'll play whatever's on my iPod, or whatever, YouTube music or whatever. It sort of depends. I try and do, like, if I'm road tripping, I try and do a bit of local flavor just to make sure that you, in the same way as, you know, it's nice to have the windows down. It's nice to smell the countryside as you're passing through it. Part of the value of doing the road trip is seeing all the shit in between that you just fly over. So in the same way as like stopping at a diner to have some food, not going in the McDonald's, because the McDonald's are the same shit everywhere. Fuck that. You know, it's nice to get a bit of local patina on you as well, you know, so eat at the place where Angie's like, do we have to, I feel a bit uncomfortable eating here in Montana because like most of the stuff on the wall has got eyes and horns and is looking at me. You know.
yeah, I ate at one of those places in Montana as well.
Yeah, I mean, and look, you know, you just got to roll with the punches. On the other hand, the pork steak that she had was like the size of the plate, and it was a big fucking plate, you know. I mean, it was, so the feed you got was huge, and lovely, and the waitress was super nice, and it was a lovely place. But it's just different strokes. But you don't get that feeling if you roll through. So yeah, come back to the question. Yeah, I tend to do digital or local.
Yeah, the fast digital for highway stuff for sure. Stuck in traffic, I need spoken word. Travel, I too believe I love the local, and you're right, Europop in Europe, and in America country, and we've done a lot of country on my road trip with the boy there. We did plenty of country.
And the cheesy rocky stuff is the best stuff, isn't it? Like, it's the most amusing. You know, I want a boat and millions and like blah blah blah. You know, that's the entertainment stuff. I had to shoot the dog and the missus left me and woe is me. Like, fuck off. No one cares. Like, I know people, they sell really well, but I'm not interested. It like needs to have a little bit of sort of tongue-in-cheek, laugh at itselfness for me. Otherwise, it doesn't quite work. But then I'm not American.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it can't take itself too seriously. Certainly, the atmosphere on our road trip was that we were not taking the music very seriously. We were singing along and laughing and generally really in.
Yeah, that's the best way. Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise you start getting into going to the Grand Old Opry and, you know, I mean, I'm not really that into country. I quite like to listen to it, the relaxed stuff, you know, the amusing, the rocky stuff. But, like, you know, when it all gets a bit serious, it's nice to be able to change the channel.
Metallica, short hair or long hair?
I don't really care. Like, do whatever they want, you know.
No, era.
Oh, I see. Old Metallica. Yeah.
Long hair.
Then.
Yeah. I thought you'd say that. But those more recent albums are just so those 90s albums, so listenable I find I listen to that material more now than the long hair stuff of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's each their own. And the stuff off the most recent album, I listened to a couple of tracks. I quite liked it. I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, it felt like they were going back to a early Metallica sort of more than the sort of period that I basically tuned out of them. So, yeah.
Mark, thank you for your time.
My pleasure, man.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.